Barbara Corcoran thinks the real estate market will surge in 2024. If this is the case, what are three ways South Florida home sellers can be prepared for 2024's real estate explosion? Well, welcome back to the show. I'm Michael Citron, and I run Morning Mike, where we discuss South Florida real estate news, ideas, and the best practices for buyers and sellers alike. If you like this video, then hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe so you never miss out on our weekly content. Barbara Corcoran says housing prices are going to go through the roof. But when? Understand, Barbara Corcoran knows a lot. She's an experienced real estate, mogul, and she's on Shark Tank, and people listen when she talks because she has the experience to back up her claims. So I definitely agree with what she's saying. When rates come down, buyers line up at properties. So if you're a prospective home buyer, you're likely in a tough spot right now. While you may be tempted to wait for interest rates to drop, if you wait too long, you could be dealing with a surge in home prices, just like we had from 2020 to 2022. We had low interest rates and we had such a surge in buyer activity. So during a Fox Business interview, Barbara Corcoran shared her prediction for when home prices will rise, how much she expects them to increase, and more. Just 2 weeks ago, these rates dropped significantly as the biggest two-day drop in decades. Does lower interest rates mean higher home prices? I believe so. And Barbara Corcoran is right. She believes that there will be a major swing in the real estate market as soon as these interest rates drop. What level? That's the question. The minute those interest rates come down, all hell's going to break loose and the prices are going to go through the roof, she said. Right now, sellers are staying put, but they're not going to stay put if interest rates go down by another, maybe point to 2 points. It's going to be a signal for everybody to come back out and buy like crazy, as she says. And the house prices will likely go up by up to 20%, she said. We could have COVID market all over again. Now, look, I don't agree totally with that claim because COVID market was when rates were in 2 to 4%. So we'd have to see rates somewhere under 4% for us to have a COVID market. When I was dealing with 100 people lined out in front of homes in the heat of the spring and summer months of 2020 and 2021. So I don't agree with her there, but I do agree that prices can go up by 10 to maybe 15%. Where interest rates could be. If they're in the 5% range, we will see a huge increase. But if rates, if the interest rates stay maybe in the low 6% rate most of the year, maybe into the end of the year, we're going to see still an increase, a good 5-10+% increase. And we will see more activity. We'll see more multiple offer situations, but we won't see that buyer frenzy, that COVID frenzy as Barbara discusses. Look, we're in South Florida here. Our market, we have an area where people vacation. You live here where people vacation. So of course, we're always going to be a different market. And that was always before COVID. I mean, California was a different market, Arizona, New York, Florida, those states were always, more favorable, whatever the market trends did. Yes, we had peaks and valleys, but we definitely were better off than certain areas of the country that were not always as favorable. So if we have a market decline, certain areas of the country are going to be seen differently. So although home prices vary throughout the nation, Corcoran believes that South Florida will continue to boom. Home prices in South Florida are still going up, and it's one of the hottest markets, she said. People love Florida and people are paying anything. I don't get it. It's not my cup of tea, but it's doing very, very well, she said. Well, she may not get why, but I certainly think Florida has a lot to offer newer residents coming from the northeastern areas and western, coasts. Obviously we don't have a state tax. As I said before, you have vacation, beautiful weather year round. Obviously there's different types of buyers that come here for certain reasons. And I think South Florida is definitely one of those areas. And those are the reasons why they come here. So should we expect a market crash? I definitely don't see a market crashing by any means. I've been in the business for 19 years, and I was involved when the the economic crash. People were getting stated mortgages, and mortgages are really tough to get right now. Lenders are very careful asking a lot of information. You have a job, you have to have funds, you have to really show all of your assets to purchase today. So buyers who are buying really qualify for these homes, and I think I do see us having an impact economically with, inflation and people struggling, with just various purchases of, food and gas and, all costs for goods have gone up. And if you're, just getting out of the holiday time, I'm sure your bills for your presents for your families were higher than ever. So that definitely will impact for 2024. I do see that we are still struggling. I think people are putting a lot of their purchases on credit cards, and that could have a long term negative economic reaction. So we just have to really see and play by ear as we get into the first quarter of 2024. So here are three ways South Florida home sellers should prepare for the upcoming year, and when is the ideal time to list your home in 2024. So one of the things I think you should also do is speak with a financial advisor about portability and capital gains tax. And we could have a whole podcast just on that, and videos on that. But understand, when you live in Florida, the state of Florida, and you have portability, if you move within the state, you're saving money on your next property taxes. The difference from the just value to the Save Our Homes value, that number comes off of what your future purchase is. And you can go on bcpa.net, Broward County Property Appraisers website.net. They have a portability calculator at the top. You could type in your current home, your Save Our Homes value, your just value home, and then it's based on the price of the home you're moving to. So whatever range you're looking to, upside or downside, it can tell you what your tax benefits will be if you didn't have portability versus if you do. And of course, you're going to file homestead for the following year, so you'll see the savings. Very important with portability. And then the capital gains tax savings. Understand, in the state of Florida, if you own a home for at least 2 years in a day as your primary residence, you're able to write off up to $250,000 in gains as a single person, and up to $500,000 in capital gains for a married couple. So say you bought your house for $500,000, you sell it for $1 million. Forget about any other fees, or just to use a round number here, you would not have to pay any capital gains tax up to that $500,000. Know where you're moving to. Number two is know where you're going to move to next. Is renting or buying? Like I said before, where are you looking to move to? Do you have any idea? I've been telling a lot of our clients to to cash out and take advantage of, being able to not have to pay a lot of capital gains tax, up to 500 for a married couple. But if you're not sure where you want to go to, you have an idea, might be a good option to maybe sell your house, go rent, see what happens in the next year, and maybe learn, get accustomed to the lay of the land where you're moving to. And then you can then purchase. You'll have more buying power. You won't have to have a contingency of selling. You'll have all your cash. You can maybe invest it for now, do a money market or CD until the time's right to pull the trigger on a purchase. So these are some of the options that you just need to know where you're going. And number three, will the next rate drop be the perfect time to sell, or should I wait even longer? Look, I'm not an expert. Nobody has the ultimate crystal ball of what's going to happen, where rates are ultimately going to drop to. I would say the consensus is probably in the 5 to 6% rate by the middle to the end of next year. But we've already gone down significantly. As I said before, we're in the 8%. We had 22-year high interest rates. Now we're back into, an average rate. If you look at from, when mortgage rates started, we're really average. 6% is not a bad interest rate. If you look historically, we're really average right now. So if we can get under that average thing, we have so much built up demand, and people are forced to stay in the house they maybe don't want to live in anymore, or they're forced to continue to rent that they don't want to rent anymore. So I think it's going to be a lot of built up, energy and maybe some frustration from clients that want to get off the fence. They just want to see the right opportunity, and money makes you move. So if the money of a house, and I always say people don't buy houses, they buy payments. If those payments can go already down another 1,500 to $1,000, and we could maybe increase that savings another 500 to $1,000 in the next 6 months, you're going to see buyers say, why am I renting? Why am I going to, not take advantage of this? Or why am I not going to sell? Maybe they're losing their 2 to 4% interest rate, but it's way easier when they see they're going to not have to pay capital gains tax, be able to take a lot of that equity out of their house. Because remember, you can't really touch your money, unless you sell your house, because you're not going to refinance until rates come down. People could do that as well and take their money out. But the way that the market's going to move very fast, what Barbara's saying, and I love her, and I really think she is saying something that's very genuinely correct. And she's going over the expectations of what I think. I'm a little bit more of a realist and conservative with it. I think it's going to be that you're going to see a lot of buyers get off the fence, and they're going to want to buy. They're definitely going to more people looking at houses. They're going to be making offers. And that will cause prices to increase because inventory is low pre-pandemic. And if we get back to having, 20% less inventory from already a pre-pandemic low inventory that we have now, we're going to see prices go up because you're going to have more competition. It's supply and demand. It's simple economics that just took on and went on fire during COVID. So I think these are great things for you to think about. We're just getting in that new year. So if you have any questions, we'd love to be able to earn your business and trust. Certainly answer all your questions, discuss more about portability, capital gains tax, what I think the market's going to do, and give you a more of a buying and selling power or renting power. Whatever you want to do, Parrot Realty's here.